Most people think buying property in the UK is out of reach, but what if I told you there's a completely different side of the market most people never even look at? Floating homes, right in some of the UK's most expensive areas, but at prices that might actually surprise you. And today, I'm going to show you a range of houseboats that are currently on the market, breaking down what you actually get for the price, from compact, budget-friendly options all the way to some surprisingly decent floating homes. Some are perfect for living, some are ideal for investment, and a few are just straight-up hidden gems. So let's get into it and see what your money can actually get you on the water. Now, we're starting off with the most expensive houseboat first, and as we go further into the video, the prices are going to drop all the way down to the absolute cheapest option at the end. So let's see the first one. House number 10. This one comes in at just here, under £173,000 and is located in Brighton Marina. From looking into it, this boathouse feels more like a floating holiday home mixed with a full-time living option. You've got a 2-bedroom layout here, which is already a big step up in terms of space compared to the last one, and it can actually sleep up to 4 people comfortably. The design is where this one really shines. The living area is south-facing, so it gets loads of natural light throughout the day. And those bifold doors open up to an outdoor space which makes it feel way bigger than it actually is. It's got that indoor-outdoor flow that you'd normally expect in much more expensive properties. The kitchen is compact but properly set up. You've got everything from induction hobs to an oven, fridge, and even a separate laundry space tucked away below. So it's not just for short stays. You could genuinely live here without feeling like you're compromising. And they've added a lot of small touches that make a difference, like underfloor heating, double-glazed windows, built-in storage, and even a wall-mounted Samsung TV already included. It's one of those places that feels ready to move into straight away. The bathroom is done in a modern wet room style, and overall the whole place feels clean, practical, and surprisingly well thought out. But what makes this one stand out is the lifestyle around it. You're in a gated marina community with 24-hour security, parking, Wi-Fi, laundry facilities, and you're literally just a 5-minute walk from the beach. So it's not just about the home, it's about everything around it as well. In terms of costs, the annual mooring fee is around £9,100, which is noticeably lower than the London one, so that's something to keep in mind if you're comparing. There are a couple of limitations though, like you can't rent it out on Airbnb, so this is more suited for personal use rather than a rental investment. But overall, this one feels more like a lifestyle purchase, whether that's a weekend escape, a second home, or even a relaxed full-time living setup by the water. Alright, so dropping slightly again in price, this one comes in at £172,000, but the whole experience here is completely different from the last two. House number 9. This one's located at Buckton Waterside and Marina, and instead of city views or beach life, you're surrounded by 90+ acres of countryside. So straight away, the vibe shifts to something much more calm, quiet, and nature-focused. You've got a 1-bedroom setup here, but what's interesting is how they've used the space. It's designed to feel open and bright, with both the lounge and the bedroom getting their own balcony areas, which is not something you see every day in a place like this. And the layout is actually pretty clever. The kitchen and bathroom sit in between, separating the living and sleeping areas, so it feels more structured rather than everything being crammed together. But honestly, the biggest selling point here isn't just the boat itself, it's everything around it. You've got direct access to the River Great Ouse, which means over 140 miles of cruising routes. So if you're into that lifestyle, this is a huge plus. The marina itself is fully set up too, gated access, CCTV, emergency services, proper facilities like showers, laundry, parking, so it's not remote in a bad way, it's more like peaceful but still convenient. And compared to the previous ones, the costs here are noticeably lower. Mooring fees are around £4,300 per year, which is a big drop, especially when you compare it to London or Brighton. Another thing to note, this is a leisure mooring, so there's no council tax, which again helps keep the overall cost down. So overall, this one feels less like a city property and more like a getaway you can actually own. Perfect if you want something quieter, more scenic, and a bit removed from all the noise. Alright, now we're down to £159,950, and this one is completely different from everything we've seen so far. House number 8. This isn't your typical compact houseboat, this is a full-on 70-foot Dutch barge. and straight away you can feel the difference. This thing is built more like a proper floating house than a minimal setup. It was built back in 1997, but don't let that put you off. It's been really well maintained, and it actually has that classic solid feel you don't always get with newer builds. Space-wise, this one is on another level. You've got 3 cabins and 2 bathrooms, so compared to the one-bed setups we saw earlier, this is a huge upgrade, easily enough room for a family, or even multiple people living together. And it's not just about size, it's about how it feels. The whole design leans into that traditional barge style, but with enough modern touches to make it comfortable for everyday living. So you're getting that mix of character and practicality at the same time. Under the hood, it's powered by a Perkins diesel engine with 135 horsepower. So it's not just sitting there, you can actually take it out and enjoy proper cruising. And this one's located in Shepperton, Surrey, which puts you in a really nice spot, close enough to London, but far enough out to enjoy a quieter, more relaxed environment. One standout detail here is that it comes with a rare berth at Barge World, which is actually a big deal, because spots like that aren't always easy to get. So overall, this one feels like a serious lifestyle upgrade. You're paying less than the previous options, but getting way more space, more character, and something that feels a lot closer to a traditional home, just floating. Next up, we've dropped down to £140,000, and this one brings a completely different kind of character. House number 7. This is a 2-bedroom Dutch barge located at Houseboat, Port Medway Marina in Rochester, and unlike the newer, polished ones we saw earlier, this one leans heavily into that classic old-school charm. Now here's the interesting part. This boat actually dates all the way back to 1898. Yeah, over a century old. But instead of feeling outdated, it's been recently redecorated, so you get that vintage look on the outside, with a much fresher feel inside. In terms of space, you're getting around 764 square feet, with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So again, it's very livable, not just a weekend thing. The layout feels a bit more traditional, there's a proper saloon area, a partially updated kitchen, and overall it just has that warm, slightly rustic feel to it. And because of the windows and port lights, it doesn't feel dark or closed in, there's actually a nice amount of natural light coming through. Structurally, it's solid too. It's got an iron hull with thick plating, which is part of what's kept it going all these years, and it's powered by a DAF diesel engine that's known for being pretty reliable. They've also added some practical features, like a bow thruster to help with manoeuvring, and spud poles that let you secure the boat directly to the riverbed. So it's not just about looks, it's functional as well. For heating, there's a Cabola diesel system on board, so it's built to handle colder months without any issues. In terms of location, you're on the River Medway, and you're still within reach of London, about 40 to 45 minutes by train, so it's not as remote as it might sound. Now the mooring costs here are around £8,500 per year, so somewhere in the middle compared to what we've seen so far. So overall, this one feels like it's for someone who really appreciates character and history. It's not trying to be ultra-modern, it's more about owning something unique, with a story behind it, and turning it into your own space over time. Moving forward, this next one is also priced at £140,000, but compared to the last barge, this feels like a totally different league. House number 6. This is a 2-bedroom houseboat right in Canary Wharf, London, and the first thing that stands out is the size. You're getting nearly 1,200 square feet here, which is honestly huge for a houseboat. And this isn't a modern build either, this is a 1915 Dutch Lux motor barge. So again, we're talking about something with real history behind it, but it's been converted into a proper living space over time. The layout on this one feels much more like a traditional home. You've got a large central living area, a proper kitchen setup, and then the bedrooms are separated in a way that gives you actual privacy, especially the master cabin at the back, which has its own ensuite. One of the standout features here is the wheelhouse. Instead of just being functional, it's been turned into a full-on saloon space with panoramic views, so it's basically a living area with some of the best views on the boat. At the front, there's another cabin that can be used as a bedroom, office, or even a studio, so there's a bit of flexibility depending on how you want to use the space. And just like the previous one, it's powered by a DAF diesel engine, so it's built for both cruising and staying moored long term. Now obviously, being in Canary Wharf comes with a trade-off. The mooring charges here are around £18,000 per year, which is by far the highest we've seen so far. But at the same time, you're right in one of the most expensive areas in London, with easy access to the Jubilee line of DLR and everything around Canary Wharf, So this one feels like a bit of a value trade-off. You're getting a massive amount of space and a prime location for the price, but the ongoing costs are something you definitely have to factor in. Still, for £140,000 in Canary Wharf, this is probably not what most people would expect. Next, this one comes in at £139,000, just slightly cheaper, but the location here is seriously premium. House number 5. This is a 3-bedroom houseboat sitting in St Catherine Docks, right next to central London. And if you know that area, you already know how expensive it usually is. But here's where it gets a bit surprising. Even though it's got 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, the total space is around 490 square feet, so it's definitely more compact than it sounds. That said, the layout has been designed pretty smartly. You've got an open-plan living area that keeps everything feeling connected, and the natural light coming in helps stop it from feeling too tight. The kitchen is fully set up with modern appliances, and the whole place has been kept in really good condition. It doesn't feel run down or outdated. The master bedroom has its own ensuite, and there's also a separate main bathroom, plus an extra toilet, so from a functionality point of view, it actually works quite well for multiple people. And they've clearly made an effort to make it comfortable year-round with proper insulation and heating built in. But let's be real, the biggest selling point here is where it's located. You're in one of the most iconic marina spots in London, surrounded by restaurants, cafes, bars, and everything is literally within walking distance. Plus, you've got quick access to transport like Tower Hill and the DLR, so getting around the city is super easy. Now, of course, that location comes at a cost. The mooring fees here are around £25,500 per year, which is the highest we've seen so far. So this one is really about priorities. You're sacrificing space, but in return, you're getting one of the best locations possible. It's the kind of place that works really well as a city base or a unique London living setup, rather than a spacious full-time home. Alright, so next up, this one drops to £130,000, and what you're getting here is a seriously classic piece of history. House number 4. This is a 1901 Dutch barge stretching around 26 metres in length. So again, we're talking about something that feels much closer to a full-size floating home than a compact boat. And unlike some of the others, this one really leans into that old-school vintage aesthetic. You've got hardwood flooring, detailed woodwork, cast-iron radiators, even wood burners, so the whole place has a very warm, character-filled feel to it. But at the same time, it's not stuck in the past. It's been converted and upgraded over nearly 2 decades, so you've still got all the modern appliances and practical features you'd need for everyday living. The main living space is designed pretty cleverly as well. It's open but subtly divided using custom shelving, so you still get that sense of separate areas without it feeling boxed in. And performance-wise, this one is fully capable on the water. It's powered by a 150 horsepower Iveco diesel engine, and it's set up in a way that makes handling surprisingly smooth for something this size. One thing that really stands out here is how well it's been maintained over the years. It's been dry docked, surveyed, and reworked multiple times, most recently in 2025, so it's not just an old barge, it's one that's been properly looked after. In terms of location, you're again in Shepperton, Surrey, so similar to one of the earlier ones, quieter surroundings, but still within reach of London when you need it. So overall, this one feels like it's aimed at someone who really appreciates that traditional, almost timeless style. You're getting a lot of space, a lot of personality, and a setup that can even support off-grid living if that's something you're into. Moving on, this next houseboat is priced at £129,950, just under £130,000, and this one feels a lot more modern compared to the last few. House number 3. This is a custom-built replica Dutch barge from 2016 located in Shepperton. So straight away you're getting something that looks classic on the outside but is much newer underneath. And you can really feel that difference in the way it's been finished. The interior is bright, clean, and well put together, with a layout that feels more like a modern apartment than a traditional boat. You've got a proper owner's cabin with a large island double bed and its own ensuite, which already makes it feel a bit more premium than you'd expect at this price point. The living space is open and light-filled, with plenty of storage built in, so it doesn't feel cluttered or cramped. One thing that stands out here is how little use it's actually had. The engine has only around 17 hours on it, which is basically nothing, so mechanically it's almost like getting a near-new setup. And for practicality, it's got a bow, thruster as well, which makes manoeuvring way easier, especially if you're not super experienced with handling something like this. There's also a really nice outdoor area at the back. You've got a proper deck space with a dining table and seating, so it's set up nicely for relaxing or even hosting people when the weather's good. In terms of overall vibe, this one feels more like a comfortable, low-maintenance lifestyle option. Less about history and character, and more about ease, convenience, and just enjoying the space. So if the older barges felt a bit too traditional, this one is probably a much easier entry point into houseboat living. Alright, so next up we're down to £125,000, and this one is sitting right in Chelsea Harbour. House number 2, and if you know London, you already know that Chelsea is not exactly a cheap area. So seeing something at this price point here is definitely interesting. This is a 1-bedroom wide beam that's been recently refurbished, and you can tell straight away. It feels clean, modern, and ready to move into. The layout is nice and simple but works really well. You've got a large open plan living area combined with the kitchen, and the space actually feels quite open, especially with those plantation shutters adding a bit of style to it. The bedroom is designed more for comfort than size, but there's plenty of built-in storage, so it's practical for everyday living. And overall, this one feels very well suited for a single person or a couple. Something like a city base, a second home, or even just a quieter alternative to renting in London. It's also got all the essentials covered. Proper bathroom setup with a shower and electric toilet, plus a cockpit area that gives you extra storage space for things like bikes or luggage. But once again, the big talking point here is where it's located. You're in Chelsea Harbour, surrounded by high-end apartments, cafes, shops, and just overall a really polished upscale environment. Transport-wise, you've got easy access to Imperial Wharf Station, which connects you into the wider London network pretty quickly. Now, just like the other London-based ones, the ongoing cost is where things add up. Mooring here is around £18,500 per year, so definitely something you'd need to factor in. So this one feels like a bit of a lifestyle choice again. You're not getting the biggest space, but you are getting a prime London location in a setup that's quite unique compared to a standard apartment. Alright, so this is it. The lowest price on the list, coming in at just £95,000. House number 1, and for under £100,000 in London. You already know there's going to be some trade-offs, but at the same time, this is where things start to feel very accessible. This is a 1-bedroom narrowboat located at 9 Elms Pier, right near Battersea Power Station. So once again, the location is actually pretty solid. Now in terms of space, this one is definitely on the compact side. You're looking at around 245 square feet, so everything here is designed to make the most out of a smaller area. But to be fair, the layout is actually quite clever. You've got a small open plan kitchen and dining setup, a cosy seating area, a main cabin, and even a second smaller cabin that could be used for guests or extra storage. So despite the size, it doesn't feel like you're completely limited. It just depends on how you use the space, and it's not lacking in essentials either. It comes with electric underfloor heating, which is a nice touch, and it still has a working engine, so you've got the option to actually cruise if you want. The location is another big plus here. 9 Elms is one of those areas that's been developing really fast, with new buildings, restaurants and riverside spots popping up everywhere. And you're also close to Vauxhall, so getting into central London is pretty straightforward. Now of course, at this price point, you do have to keep expectations realistic. There may be some ongoing maintenance, which is pretty normal for something like this. And the annual mooring and service costs come to roughly £13,500 combined. So overall, this one feels like an entry point. It's not the biggest, it's not the most luxurious, but it is one of the most affordable ways to own something in London, especially in a location like this. And when you look back at everything we've covered, from nearly £200,000 all the way down to £95,000, it really shows how much variety there is in this market, depending on what you value more, space, location or price. So after going through all of these, it really comes down to one thing: what matters more to you. Do you want space, do you want location, or do you just want the lowest possible entry point? Because as you've seen, you can't really have all three at the same time, and honestly that's what makes this market so interesting. Some of these feel like proper homes, others feel more like lifestyle choices, and a few are just unique opportunities you wouldn't normally find in traditional property. So if you had to pick one from this list, which one are you going for? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you want more videos like this, affordable homes, unique properties and hidden opportunities, make sure to subscribe to the channel. because there's a lot more out there that most people never even see, and we are going to cover it all. See you there. Until then, happy buying your new boat home.